What do you think? Is this outfit sunny enough? What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the 6th studio album by Mayday Parade, an alternative band that have been kicking it for over a decade at this point. It's really crazy that it's been over a decade that I was using songs from A Lesson in Romantics as my MySpace profile songs. But I'm not just here to wax nostalgic, I'm actually here to talk about Sunnyland. Now the title there might make you think that there's implications of very bright songs, but actually it's kind of a record that's brimming with anger, and that's something that I love to see, whether it be from the band in general, or even from the charismatic vocalist Derek Sanders, who can be charismatic when he actually kicks it into gear a little bit. Now, over the years, I haven't exactly been the #1 Mayday Parade fan. In fact, I've found them to be kind of off-putting, hard to get into, and just kind of wishy-washy in places. It's just like I could pick up here, hear a song, and be like, alright, well, that didn't sound all that different from the other 20 songs that I've heard. And as I've slowly heard all of their albums over time, whether it be just for my own entertainment or curiosity or for album reviews, I really only stuck with the debut and a lot of the self-titled. I find those to be their best 2 albums. And I'm happy to say that Sunnyland fits up there with the best of them, because this record kind of surprised me in a big way. I was actually pretty shocked to hear that Mayday Parade was off of Fearless Records and is now signed to Rise, because they had been with Fearless for every record up to this point in their discography, and now we've got Rise Records stepping in. And I didn't like what was going on, at least what I was hearing. I had heard some rumors about multiple producers working on it, and of course John Feldmann. I just reviewed the State Champs album and was not a fan of his work there, and haven't been a fan of a lot of his work that he's done in recent years, probably the past like 2 or 3 specifically. But I'm happy to say that his work and involvement on Sunnyland seems to be a little bit more minimal, as there are several producers, and I'm amazed at how well they were able to pull off this cohesion. This is a record that flows very well from track to track. After hearing the lead-off single Piece of Your Heart, captivated isn't exactly the word that would describe me. I was thinking, oh great, more Mayday Parade on cruise control, but this isn't exactly what we got. We didn't get more snooze control, so to speak. In fact, this record is actually able to detail some harsher thoughts, and being inspired by the 2016 election results, I think that Derek actually came through with some pretty solid lyrics, at least on some songs, and I do still have to complain on some of these tracks because that's always been a hang-up for me with Mayday Parade, but honestly, there's some genuine passion and anger and emotion packed into these tracks, especially some of the cuts like the fierce, unsuspecting Is Nowhere, which is a major highlight, my personal favorite on the record, and even some of the slower tracks like Take My Breath Away, or even the title track that closes out the record. Now listen, I know what you're thinking, oh great, another politically motivated record. But that's not really exactly what's going on here. I think that it was an inspiration for anger for the band, but I don't think that they're just constantly trying to pull from that. They're not just consistently drawing the same blood that a lot of other bands are doing. I think that they kind of branched out here and actually take to calling out maybe even specific people, especially like on the return of the long song title that we've all been waiting for. It's hard to be religious when certain people aren't incinerated by bolts of lightning. Oh man, that is great, but also a mouthful. They've actually got a really good song on their hands here. This is something that is angry, but also delves into something a little bit different instrumentally, and that's what I've been craving for from Mayday Parade for years now. It's like they do it sometimes, and even on their last record, Black Lines, I felt like they struggled to bring out anything new, even though they technically were doing something a little bit harder and rockier. It just didn't feel like them. This actually feels a lot more in their wheelhouse somehow, but it's still an expansion. How Do You Like Me Now has a great early to mid 2000s energy about it. I love that inertia that it's able to move forward with. It's a song that tackles something lyrically that maybe we've heard before, even from Mayday Parade, but what makes this song gripping to me is the fact that the guitars are actually trying to do something and incentivize us to pay attention a little bit more. As we have that incentive, we actually hone in on the layers that are here. And there's some nice flare-ups that aren't necessarily solos on this track in particular, although there is a really nice solo on Satellite, which is a decent song, but the solo definitely sends it over the moon, at least in that regard. But on this track, How Do You Like Me Now, I feel like you just have to respect the drumming, the guitars, and the way that they come together with their chemistry as a band. It's something that is firing on all cylinders. Looks Red, Taste Blue is actually a super engaging vocal performance that has a great chorus to it that actually feels like a climax. Always Leaving comes directly after that and is a much slower song with some beautiful acoustic guitars on it that I'm actually pretty keen on. I think that's because they actually do something a little bit different from most acoustic tracks, and especially at the end, you can really see that they have some skilled guitarists on their hands here. And even in stripped back formats like this, they still shine, and Always Leaving definitely makes sense as a song because not many bands tour and work as hard as Mayday Parade do. Now, I've probably thrown out a lot more positives than people expected me to at this point in the review, but I do have drawbacks and some lines that I have to draw in the sand because there's still these Mayday Parade-isms that flare up, both lyrically and musically, and I think that the lead single, like I already talked about it not getting my attention, Piece of Your Heart just does that for me. It sits back and it's a song. It exists, it's not awful, but it's just there. While I do like the sentiments that are shared on Stay the Same, I have a hard time getting a grip on that one and just finding myself wanting to come back to it because I get what's going on here. It's a song about everything changing and you're getting older, you're losing people, you don't exactly know how to hold on, and you just feel like you're in a different mental state. I relate to the song a whole lot, but the way that it comes across, it just feels a little bit cheesy musically. It's not that I have a problem with the lyrics, and I think that some people are going to try to overanalyze this album. I mean, it's Mayday Parade. You're not looking necessarily for gold here, and I don't expect that of bands of this nature. That's not what they're known for. It's not to say that they can't write good lyrics, but just don't expect the world. Now, even with those expectations, it's still very much possible to get let down and to find some of these songs to just be not good. I already mentioned Piece of Your Heart, but I also find Where Are You to not exactly be strong Mayday Parade territory, because it doesn't have the power of even some of the past ballads that they've been able to pull off, some of the darker songs, some of the ones that get you all in the feels. I think that it goes for that appeal, but I don't think it's very effective. At the end of the day, despite its shortcomings, I think that Sunnyland is a strong album and one of Mayday Parade's best. And overall, I would say check out this full album. I think that you might be pleasantly surprised, even if you haven't been that huge on Mayday Parade like me. Now, for me personally, I'm gonna rate Sunnyland a 3.5 out of 5. Let me know your thoughts on the album in the comment section down below. Are you planning on checking it out? You've already heard it. Let me know your thoughts and reasons why for either loving it or hating it. Don't forget to drop a like on the video while you're here. Also, subscribe to the channel, and of course, if you're able to, donate on Patreon down below. Thanks a lot for coming to check out my Mayday Parade review and watching till the end of the video. There's an annotation in the corner of the screen if you are able to support me on Patreon. It greatly helps out the channel, both this one and Beyond ARTV. If you do want to check out another Mayday Parade themed video, then tap over here, or another recent video I did right over here. All of my socials can be found in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.